It's Monday, April 15th, and you're listening to The Geek at Geek News Central, the longest continuous running tech podcast. This is show number 850, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Our April GoDaddy specials get 35% off at GoDaddy using promo code GO35OFF2. Geek News Central is great to be here tonight. I tell you, got a great show lined up for you. Geek News Central is proud member to be of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. If you know what comes next, strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphones.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to Geek News Central, coming to you live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Honolulu. Boy, just getting ready to start the show tonight, and as you guys noticed at the very beginning, I was kind of getting confused because my headsets were going psh, 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 psh. It was like coming in, coming out. I didn't. And what a way to be back in the saddle after being gone a week. You guys are probably wondering, what in the heck is wrong with this dude? But hey, everyone, welcome to the show. I want to give a warm welcome to all the longtime listeners and viewers of the show. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being part of the family. Of course, we want to make sure that all of you get a chance to get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content over there. I tell you, it's been a fun couple of days. I got back in here from Las Vegas on Friday. Had to very quickly get turned around and really be ready to go with the Saturday morning. Actually, the new media show. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a few minutes. But one thing that we're doing tonight a little different than what we've done in the past is we're actually streaming tonight up on live stream as our primary stream. So what happens is when you basically initializing the when you load the web page, the player starts automatically. So I had every time I loaded an instance of the page when I started the stream tonight, the stream just automatically started kicking over, and I really didn't want that playing while we were going. But we're up on live stream tonight using their professional service and their embed. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Still using the standard Geek News Central chat room. I like that a little better than what we normally use. So we're back here in the studio here in Honolulu. Instead of being up on the Amazon stream, we're going to try a live stream for a couple of weeks and see how it works out as our primary streaming input. But definitely get over to geeknewscentral.com when you get a chance to subscribe to the show. It's real easy to do so. There's an iTunes link on the website or an RSS feed. You can get subscribed to the show so that you never miss a single episode of the podcast. And, of course, if you can't watch the show live, you can really check us out on almost any glass, whether it be a computer, your iPad, your Android, the Roku, Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, Google TV. Just look for the Tech Podcast channel or just come over to geeknewscentral.com. And, of course, don't forget that you can reach out to me here real easy by, follow me on Twitter at Geek News. Of course, you can email me here directly at the show at geeknews@gmail.com. Or, of course, our hotline is available 24 hours a day at 619-342-7365. It's great to be back here in Hawaii. Having a really kind of a week off, and really there wasn't a week off because we were still producing content Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, doing 2 airs on air with the live stream folks. So that was great. We'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But as a reminder, you can subscribe to our newsletter so that as I get the show done tonight and I get it published, I'll have links to all the tech content that I'm going to talk about tonight, either over on GNC-shownotes.com, which will be linked via the main show notes at geeknewscentral.com. But if you only get subscribed to that newsletter, that will get you an instant gratification of having an email with all those links emailed to you. So get subscribed as well. So what I'm doing is we're actually using the Tech Podcast channel that we have on live stream tonight, and we're going to start introducing more TPN shows to the live stream feed. We're going to qualify each show as it comes on to make sure that they're going to be able to maintain the broadcast quality that we want for the live stream, and start bringing you some of our members over there on this channel on a regular basis. So we look forward to doing that. And I hope they get started with their show a little bit better than I did tonight, because it just gives obvious, not been in the studio for a week, and it's trying to push too many buttons at one time all by myself. He want to give a shout out, of course, to GoDaddy.com for being our sponsor here at Geek News Central. And GoDaddy's been with us for a long time. We've got some great promotions through the month of April, of course. We've got our $2.95.coms by using the promo code GEEK295. That's a limit of one. Or you can get 35% off your total new order by using promo code GO35OFF2. And really, that's a great savings. You get that special offer, 35% off on new orders. You can check out the details at GoDaddy.com. But don't forget, all of our codes are at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. That's where you can find every single code really in the arsenal that we have for you. And let's see if I get that right. There we go. And of course, I got the economy hosting for just $1.99 a month. We got 20% off. We've got $8.49 on .com renewals. We've got some $5, $10, and $20 off codes. We've got some $12.99 SSL certificates. So you name it, we've got it over at GoDaddy. And the best part is you're going to save a lot of money. There's a code there for every occasion. And we want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at the show. And make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. All right, let's talk just a little bit about being in Vegas. Kind of an interesting development on Thursday, really about dinner time. And matter of fact, I talked about it during the show last time. My wife said, "Is the offer still open to go to Vegas with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And was able to get her a ticket and get her booked. And matter of fact, talked about it on the show. So we flew out together Friday, got into Vegas pretty late. But we had all day Saturday, all day Sunday to kind of hang out and do some things, a little gambling. Saw Chris Angel, the Mind Freak, went to see his show. Did some shopping. You really just kind of did the Vegas thing and had a great time, had some great meals. And it was great husband and wife time. This was probably our first trip in many years without the kids, and it was A-OK. And I think we both realized we need to do that on a more regular basis. And fellas, if you haven't taken your significant other anywhere lately without the kids, it's a great thing. You know, a little secret. You know, my wife was always about taking the kids with us whenever we go on vacation. And I was kind of like, we ought to go on our own little thing once in a while. Oh, no. You can't leave the kids at home. But I think she had a small revelation, and maybe husband wasn't completely talking out of his head when he said, leave the kids at home. So it was fantastic. We had a great time. And a lovely friend here in Honolulu basically take care of the kids. We dropped them off at her house, and she's got a couple of kids my kids' age, and they basically all had fun all weekend. And then Shoko flew back Monday while I proceeded to hit NAB. So I did want to share a little bit with you about NAB. I'm going to have if you've watched some of our live coverage, thanks for watching. But I guess from my goal when I went to the show was to really look for different things that would really help this show and the shows that I work with at Raw Voice take their shows to the next level. And oftentimes in years past, I went to the show and saw something really cool, but then when I've asked the price, I've just been absolutely floored. Now, that was pretty much always the case again this year, because when you go in and you look at these graphic suites, you look at chroma key, you look at all the things that really pump up a production where you would have fly-ins and fly-outs and really make it kind of ESPN-esque. That really is, for a better word, very expensive to do. And the software is very expensive. And these broadcasters are used to paying 30, 50, 100, $150,000 for these kind of almost one-trick software packages that come with hardware and everything else. So when you're there on a basically doing a netcast, webcast, podcast budget, and you're looking for stuff, you really kind of have to dig. So I think I saw no less than like 8 different streaming solutions. Basically, people building boxes, kind of like the TriCaster series or the live stream box series, building those types of systems with their own software and different ways of mixing stuff up. And then I saw a whole bunch of different software. I saw one thing that had Twitter feeds that was integrated absolutely fantastic. It was perfect. And, I walked up to it, I said, man, here I have found the product that's going to make my whole show. It's kind of a one-trick pony type thing where basically you can filter and set up things so that you can really display your Twitter feed in a nice graphical way, right up live. Well, $500 a month. And, I just, that kind of like, man, that one hit me in the face real hard because I was like, wow, you can't do it. I said, well, we're here to talk to the broadcasters and the folks with the deep products and pockets. And be quite honest, the broadcast industry, in my opinion, has been bent over and screwed by these. Well, they've built in these huge ecosystems with huge support infrastructure to sell a small number of very high-priced items. And it was across the board that way. Now, we found a few gems here and there. And I think what is happening is there's small inroads. And they're starting to realize that, while we're still just a very small minority of volume, and we don't have the reach as broadcast television does, I think they're starting to realize that TV is being redefined. And we're part of that redefinement. And I saw a lot of that in attitudes. Talking with one company, I said, listen, I love your product, even at $12,000, but I really love your product at $3,500. And I said, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need this, and I don't need that. I said, if you got rid of that stuff and kind of dumb down your application, because they got all these tie-ins to these legacy systems that brings in stuff for scoreboards and brings in data feeds from AP and all this stuff. And I said, I don't need that stuff, I need that. And the guy was polite and nice. They were a UK company, but you can tell the wheels are spinning in their brain because they got to make a decision. At what point do they take their $12K product and they have to lower it to a price that I can afford, which is under $5,000. And they have to make a decision. When can I make that margin up? When there's enough of me's to basically sell 3 for every one that he would have sold at $12,000 and keep his margins the same while without really undercutting his base price. Because once he lowers the price, everyone's going to want it cheaper, even the broadcast people. So that's part of the challenge. But I did find some tools. They're not quite at the price range we need them yet. So we'll continue to watch and see how things go. But overall, had a great week in Vegas. No stress. The live stream folks were fantastic. The crew had 3 guys that were basically producing the show. One guy that was running the audio board, getting people mic'd up. Another guy that was running the switcher. And another guy, he was just kind of the quote-unquote director. Really, he was kind of an extra, but they all did great things for us. And it just goes to show that the solution that they've come up with, if need be, could be managed by a couple of people like we do our shows when we travel as well. So the live stream product is got some room to grow. They've got to get green screen built in and some other features. But, as I was talking with Max, the CEO at Livestream, he says, Todd, listen, we've only been at this code a year, and look what we've done. Now, I was able, and I was lucky, I truly won this. Let me grab this. I showed up early. I was at their booth at like 9:05. As soon as the doors opened Monday morning, I ran down, and they started a demo about 9:15 of their of the show. Well, there was only 3 of us back there. By the time, 15 minutes, the show was only open, they started doing the first demo, and they were giving away their studio live production switcher software. And basically, I put my name in the bowl, and there was 3 business cards in there. He drew the first business card out, called the guy's name, and he'd already split. He didn't even wait to the end. And then there was a 50-50 chance, and I got lucky, and he pulled my name. So he says, "This is kind of unfair. This looks rigged." I didn't. I won this fair and square. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably build a system and talk about that process in a future show. But you can buy their software at $2,000 and enroll your own system if you have the hardware. I think I've got enough of bits and pieces here in the studio of stuff I've got with Blackmagic Design and so forth to probably build my system. Now, for the price, and all things aside, and looking at all the different products, I still think at this point the TriCaster 40, which is a $5,000 unit, has probably the most robust feature set. Now, that being said, I think you give Livestream 6 months, and that gap is going to be completely zeroed out. And I think they're going to be very, very they're already, I believe, cost effectiveness in some of their methodology. I like the way they're doing some workflows better. So from a live standpoint, we're not going to abandon. We're still running on the TriCaster 855 here. It's got all the bells and whistles, and got this beautiful switcher board in front of me. But it could come a time here in the future where the old geek here at Geek News Central makes a change, and that potentially could come down the road. So we'll see what happens. But great show. Had a great time with Don Bain, the Gadget Professor. Him and I, spin off on each other and little digs here and there and having fun. And the live stream guy says, I never seen 2 guys just sit down, cold, turn on, go for 2 hours or 2.5 hours, boom, boom, gas, do fills, have enough, discussion points just to go nonstop. And we kind of thought that was kind of normal. And I guess having the practice of being at CES all these years doing the live shows, I think it has all went well. So anyway, enough on that. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little insight into NAB. And really, my brain is still decompressing all the things that I saw. I took pictures of stuff that I wanted to really kind of follow up on. So forgive me over the next couple of shows if I talk about stuff, and I'll try not to relapse and go over stuff that I went before, but I'm sure there's going to stuff that's going to come on my head that I'm going to want to talk about. But I do want to talk about this previous Saturday. We did the new media show with Rob Greenlee and our special guest, Jim Lauterbach from Revision 3. And that episode is posted, of course, and this was the first official edition of the new media show. And we had a great time with Jim, talking with him about what's going on at Revision 3 since their acquisition by Discovery, and, some of the cool things they've got going on. And I tell you, right now, the folks at Revision 3 are hitting on all cylinders, and they're doing some cool stuff. But, this was really kind of a ultimate switchover for that show. We started with this with the Saturday Morning Tech, and it went that way for about 80 episodes. But Rob's taking care of booking guests, and we've had Chad Mumm from The Verge. We've had James Botteroff from Cairo Radio. We've had Alan Jackson, founder of the Mesh.tv. Andy Bowers from Slate, Todd Bishop from GeekWire, Jeff Ulrich from Earwolf.com. These are all great networks that we've done interviews with founders or primaries at those particular properties. So if you're not watching the series, if you're a content creator, you'll want to watch it. If you're just a fan of this show, it's really a different genre, and you guys will get some behind-the-scenes type of discussions that I normally won't get into on this show because the content is completely different. But definitely really excited with where that's headed, and talking with Gary Leland about the Chrome show. I thought we were going to start on April 1st on that. He says he's going to push it to May 1st. He's just been busy trying to get everything going on. Of course, Gary is heavily involved he is in the sports arena, softball specifically. So this is a crazy time for him. So he says starting May 1st, he's going to get that show on the road. The folks from Citrix Go to Meeting, they're off this week from running ads, but we got the banners up on the website, and we definitely want to thank you if you've done any trials over there. But they'll be back with us next week on a regular schedule for a regular ad spot. But let me go ahead and really move into the content tonight. And I'm still a little jet laggy, folks, so I'm a little punchy tonight, so I apologize. But, I guess first things are first, we should talk about the tragedy of what has happened in Boston. And I had my head down. I was trying to catch up today with a number of things. And I got a text from my mom, and she says, did you see the news? And I was kind of like, no, I've just been buried in spreadsheets. And so the first thing I did is I loaded Twitter because, I'm thinking in the back of my head, okay, so what's going on? Did North Korea just launch a missile? Did we shoot it down? What craziness happens in the world? And as soon as I hit Twitter, I found out very quickly what had happened. And, it's just in your mind, what's going in through your mind that quick to try to see what's happening. And tragedy. It's just so sad that we have individuals in this world yet today that want to hurt people in this way. And I know it's a regular occurrence in many countries, especially in the Middle East, where people are, blowing up bombs and making them, this was happening with our soldiers, our airmen, our sailors that are basically in Afghanistan are dealing with these IUDs. And but this here is obviously these bombs were meant to maim. Apparently, these were bombs that were loaded with BBs. And you just think about high velocity BBs from an explosion. It's not a good situation. But our hearts and prayers go out to the victims and the families that lost loved ones today. I think that's just one of those sobering moments that we all just need to really realize that, hug the family members closer. And, what I also saw on Twitter, some stuff that made me a little disgusted was that some individuals take this as an opportunity to spread nastiness. And basically, I clicked on the Twitter stream for Boston and the marathon. There was, 2 or 3 different things that were going on that were keywords that were being used by people. And, while Twitter can act as this, this news ombudsman, it's some people putting out just horrific things and false stuff and rumors. And, so you could see some of that in there. And so we have to be careful. And because you can easily react to some of that stuff and react incorrectly. And as soon as they said that they had a suspect or actually a person of unknown, person of interest of a Middle Eastern origin, then, that starts this whole nother conversation and, a level of nastiness that can be pretty ruthless. And again, the police and the FBI and everything are trying to figure this all out yet. But it just goes to show you that people really get emotional, and I bet you sometimes people say stuff that they wish they wouldn't during these type of events. But it is interesting to eavesdrop and kind of watch it all unfold. Now, because supposedly, quote unquote, the city shut the cell phone service down, which they say they didn't now. But if they were thinking that these bombs or these improvised explosive devices were being detonated with cell phones, and if you think about how this technology would work, they would basically wire the ringer to a detonating device, and they would just call the cell phone. And as soon as the cell phone rang, it, boom, the thing goes off. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if it comes out later that the city of Boston did shut the cell phone service down. But the folks at Google put up a person finder for the Boston Marathon explosions. And basically trying to connect people that were trying to find loved ones. And they got this up really, really quick. And it's a google.org project. And let me see if I can blow this up here for you. Yeah, I can blow it up a little bit. So they did a nice job in basically doing that and getting that up. Now, I don't know how many people used it, but there was some other services out there that were being advertised at the same time that you could potentially use, and one of those was Twillo, and it's Twillo. So if you ever get in a situation where you can't make a call, all you have to do is use a Twillo in your browser. You need either Chrome or Firefox, and the Adobe Flash plugin. Now that's another challenge. If you're on iOS, you're kind of screwed, but they make it easy for you to make a phone call, a digital phone call outside of the internet stuff. So there was people giving ideas on what to do to be able to call your family. And so smart on them to get that put up right away as well. Another interesting thing that happened today is we had gotten a couple of announcements from a variety of news organizations today, or companies basically saying, hey, we're making a big press announcement tomorrow. And late this afternoon, I started getting emails. Hold up. We're extending the embargo another day. We're not going to make the announcement tomorrow. We're going to, wait till later in the week with everything going on in Boston. So it was interesting that the PR agencies were very quickly scrambling to delay announcements of products and services that were scheduled to come out tomorrow. So, but it's nice to see people have sensitivities, that type of stuff. And I'm sure this is just going to be in the news. As a matter of fact, I got in the house this afternoon after picking up the kids from school. I said, don't even turn on the TV, because if I do, I'm going to sit down here and watch the news for 2 hours, and then the show's going to be even more late. And decided to, continue to press through and get the show out, which is, the show must go on. So let's, enough on Boston. Again, hearts go out to the families. And if you saw something interesting that happened during the situation that happened there, the tragedy, love to hear from you, geeknews@gmail.com. Drop me a line and point out something that was cool that you saw use of technology, or something that made you get a little wide-eyeballed or something. And I'd love to talk about it in a later show. Now, privacy is it's red hot right now. And it was a heavy discussion at NAB as well. So what we saw, I had to take a chug of water there because a little dry mouth going on here, is that in all these companies are worried about the FCC coming in and saying, hey, you are spying too deep on people. You need to back off a little bit. And that was some points of discussion with some of the groups at NAB. But as sites like Facebook work with data companies and advertise to collect an enormous amount of information about us, there needs to be some tools out there. Now, the folks at Disconnect, and this is an ex-Googler who released a big update today to Disconnect. It's a data blocking tool that I either was initially familiar with. I was looking up here on my website. Do I have this installed? And I don't see it as having been installed. I've got an ad blocker on here, but Disconnect may be one of our new hopes for essentially blocking advertisers from spying on us. And if you go to, let me see if I can load this up here real quick. If you go over to disconnect.me, you can start using this application on Chrome and on Firefox. And basically, it tells you exactly how you're being spied upon, how many requests for information, how many social requests, how many content requests, all the stuff that's being smelled in your daily utilization. And it also shows how much bandwidth you're saving by using this application. So what their claim to fame here is that they're stopping 2,000 plus third-party sites from tracking you. And they say that they're going to speed up the load of pages that you have to as high as 27% faster. And it's going to encrypt the data you share with popular sites. So this is something that's going to get added to my browser tonight. and I'm going to give it a try, and I'm real curious to see how this thing is going to work out. But another way to keep a little more stuff private when you don't want people spying on you. But it's curious that this guy's an ex-Googler that's actually in head of this company, and some of the things he's doing there. So have the link up in the show notes for you, obviously, to check out. Also wanted to don't want to forget that Don Bain, the gadget professor, he's a trooper, man. He got back to Phoenix and in the afternoon and immediately put out a gadget professor, and he talked about one of the products that we reviewed on the very last day, and he also talks about some of the stuff that they saw and ways to save some money on some live stream gear. I guess I should mention that too. We got a special going on right now through, and this really isn't a sponsor for this show, but for our show that we did for live stream, we had MMCom Multimedia Communications come on as a sponsor, mmcom.com/live stream. And you're going to get a discount on any of the new live stream gear. And if you buy one of their boxes, you're going to get $4,000 worth of live stream premium services. So really, it's like if you're already on premium, the $4,000 you're going to get is going to offset and almost pay for the piece of gear that you're going to get. But Don talks about that in the Gadget Professor. Again, mmcom.com/live stream for that savings. But, Don's show is produced on the TriCaster as well. Matter of fact, the TriCaster 8000. And he's got information about that on his website, too. So lots of media options for those of you out there looking to maybe jump in the bandwagon here and get in this space. So, but anyway, check out Don's show. He talks about the new product that we basically was offloading of media in a very, very cool way. So one thing that was interesting today in the New York Times was an article about undermining the monstrosity of the broadcast system and unbundling TV profits. And apparently, they're with the success of Netflix House of Cards and some other stuff that's going on in the space, and with the antitrust suit against Viacom from Cablevision, and all these things are happening. I think as a consumer, we're all going to start to see the benefits of this changing space. And I think what we're also going to start seeing is more of the media dollars be trickling down into shows like this to basically help support our ecosystem, to help boost it up. And at the same time, it's going to level the playing field even more. But the New York Times talked about it in great detail today. And I thought it was kind of interesting coming the week after NAB that they would actually, kind of run this hit piece on the broadcast industry. So I'll have that link up in the show notes for you to check out. Now, in a reverse trend, something here that I just am totally shocked is happening. Comcast announced today that they're going to encrypt basic cable channels and that they're going to require a set-top box for all content. Now, this is a pretty big blow to basic cable viewers. And really, up until recently, Comcast has allowed subscribers to access certain channels without adding a set-top box for every TV. And that's the way I've got my house wired up right now. We're still connected since my wife reconnected us about a year ago. And the TV in my bedroom doesn't have a cable box. I just get a base, like 70-some channels, whereas the other, cable box gets 1,000 or whatever it has. But Comcast is implementing encryption in some areas already and issuing these set-top boxes. So this is horrible. And this, is what this could really mean is that some places that aren't wired completely are going to have more expensive wiring installations and a whole bunch of stuff. And they're trying to cut back on what they say the reason they're doing this is to cut back on service theft. But, I guess if you're getting local content, just go plug an antenna in, and I think you can just get the stuff over the air. But it is interesting that they are putting this in place. And this is basically is as a result of an FCC decision that allows companies to encrypt their basic cable channels. And this is a big loss for consumers in so many ways. So if you're a Comcast user, you can complain, but I don't know what you're going to be able to do to have anything change. But that's what's headed towards you. All right, Dish Network has bid $25.5 billion for Sprint, and they're going head-to-head with SoftBank. Of course, SoftBank, a Japanese firm, has got some money on the table as well. And so Dish has clarified that its bid for Clearwire is also still on the table for the company to consider, even if it was turned down. So, they're looking to get 2 for 1 here. But we'll see what happens. But the folks at SoftBank already owned stock in Sprint, and I think in Clearwire as well. So we'll see where this goes. But a little bit of a mess, and I'm sure this is going to be full of regulatory issues as well. Hey, want to say hello to Sly Fox. Want to say hi to Sump for being on the stream. We had some other folks on. Dale was on there a little earlier. So thank you guys for being on. How's the stream? Is the stream good tonight? I just, I'm using a little higher streaming level. So let me know how the stream is tonight on the live stream broadcaster box. All right. This came out last week, but I wanted to talk a little bit about it. Was Xbox rumors point to an HDMI pass-through cable for TV integration. Kind of the same way Google TV did their implementation. I hear the next Xbox is going to let you to plug in out of your cable box into the Xbox, out of the Xbox into your television. And to me, is that going to win? I don't think so, but that's the way they're integrating it. So we'll see where this leads. But I just wonder, I don't have my Xbox on my main TV. The Xbox is in the garage where the kids play. And I'm sure a lot of folks have their Xbox in their living room. And this reminds me, I'll tell you a little story. I was staying, first 2 nights we stayed at, when my wife was there in Vegas, we stayed at the Las Vegas Hotel. And here's what I'm going to say about the Las Vegas Hotel, which used to be Las Vegas Hilton. They lost their franchise for a reason. And I'm going to tell all of you that listen to this show, do not go to the Las Vegas Hotel. 2 thumbs down, dirty rooms, air conditioner wasn't work. Took them 8 hours to come to do a service call in the room. They never fixed some stuff. It was not a good stay. Not at all. Big complaints. And my wife laughed because Sunday we left the Las Vegas Hotel, which is a supposedly 4-star resort, and we went downtown and we stayed at the Plaza. And a lot of people wrinkle their nose at the Plaza, but when we walked into the room, my wife is like, how can we just paid $176 or something like that a night to stay at the Las Vegas Hotel, and now you're down here at the Plaza paying $44. How is it that the room here is better than up there? And I'm like, I told you so. And the only reason we were at the LVH the first 2 nights is I wasted my time and didn't get booked early enough and couldn't get into the Plaza the first 2 days, or one of the 2 days. And she was shocked. I mean, absolutely shocked that the rooms were as nice furniture, nice beds, everything, clean, nothing dirty in the bathtub or nothing. And so anyway, she was just blown away that even though we were downtown, what was uptown was cheaper. But going back to the Xbox story and where this ties in, it's a long way to get there. So she flies out on Monday morning. And so you guys know I'm playing Ingress, right? So my goal is to level up while I'm in Vegas. And there's like 6 or 7, maybe half a dozen portals, maybe a dozen portals, really in and around downtown. And I was getting some good exercise just walking from portal to portal and doing what you do when you play Ingress. And I was just basically farming. I was collecting the tools you use in the game. And so, it's Vegas. So I said, well, I'm going to go have a beer. And I walked into a bar and really wasn't paying too much attention. Sat down and ordered a drink. And I kind of noticed that everyone around me was playing a game. She goes, "You want to, what game do you want to play?" And I'm like, "I don't game." And kind of give me this look. And in other words, I don't Xbox game. I am playing this Ingress game, which is kind of funny. So I do game, I guess. And so, I mean, couples are there having a cocktail and playing. And I thought it was kind of odd. And I'd never been in a bar where it was just a gaming bar. And they had monitors, completely surrounding this place. I don't know how many, and the games were preloaded, and they were playing, wherever they set that's the game they got. But I thought that was kind of cool. And the place was packed. It was full of people. And matter of fact, she says, if someone comes up and wants to use this console, I'll have you move. We've got a couple of seats down the end where where there's no consoles at where you can sit. And I'm like, oh, don't worry. And grabbed my beer and I left, because you can do that. You can take your beer and walk on the street in Vegas. And anyway, long story short, I just thought it was kind of a cool place. And be honest with you, I was showing my age a little bit here, not realizing they had gaming bars per se. So anyway, with this Xbox rumor pointing to HDMI pass-through, I don't know if that's going to be successful or not. Time will tell. Okay, well, someone's saying here, Sly Fox is saying, I paid $30 a night at the Cortez Down. Pretty sweet. Even came with a mini fridge. Hey, that's important in Vegas. They don't often give you a fridge. He says that must have been the insert coin bar. I passed by it. Someone's talking here about my experience going into that bar. But anyway, very, very cool. So, hey, Johnny, on calling in, watching from New York. Thanks for being up so late, man. New York, it's like that's approaching 3 o'clock in the morning. So thanks for being on the live stream tonight. All right, so let's talk about Google Glass, and they've made some tech spec announcements today, and they released the Google Glass API, and Google officially announced the specs. And here's the deal. So the camera will take a 5 megapixel image or 720p video, has 16 gigs of storage, 12 gigs usable, and that's a lot for this small object. But it's not a huge, noting that micro SD cards now can go to 64 gigs and beyond. Glass will only use slower 802.11b and G Wi-Fi, and this is likely to save energy in chip size by eliminating 802.11n. Google says that the display will be equivalent of a 25-inch HD screen of about 8 feet away, and that's a good way to imagine the glass experience. And they say all of this in a full day of battery use is suggested, and we will see. They're going to have adjustable nose pads and durable frame fits any face, extra nose pads in 2 sizes. It's going to have a bone conduction transducer, so you can get the audio through your bone. It'll have Bluetooth. It's going to include a charger, a micro USB charger and cable. It's going to have compatibility with any Bluetooth-capable phone. The My Glass Companion app will require Android 4.03 Ice Cream Sandwich or higher. My Glass enables GPS and SMS messaging. So interesting here. If you don't have an Android phone, doesn't sound like you're going to get as much out of Glass. I'm still waiting for my, you guys know I've been invited to be on the Glass Explorer, and I submitted, a story on why I wanted Glass, and haven't got the notice on to order yet. So I'm kind of anxious about that. The early folks are going to start getting their glasses, I think, sometime early next month. So, of course, when I pay, I still have to go to San Francisco or to pick them up. But pretty excited about this. Can't wait to I get my, basically time to order these things. So we'll see. And of course, I'm hoping the folks at Ingress make it so I can play Ingress with my with my Google Glass. Maybe not right away, but it would be pretty cool. So they did break down the design and how they're put together, and that's kind of cool. And of course, that was part of their patent submission. So they have that available. Of course, a couple articles here. I found one on Engadget, one over 925 Google, and So anyway, we'll see where this goes. But another thing that was announced today was YouTube just got support for multiple admins per channel. So this is fantastic. So now the site allows for up to 50 people to administer a YouTube channel together. And so we don't need to share passwords anymore. It's cool. So we can allow multiple team members to upload videos and so forth. This is fantastic news. And I'm going to set up all our TPN members to be able to submit stuff to the TPN channel on YouTube. I don't have to anymore be worried about the account being compromised. So this is going to be really slick. And there was another announcement by YouTube today as well that I'll get into here in a few minutes. Time Warner Cable is going to, on their app, it's going to add some video on demand and live streaming that's going to allow you to use that while you're away from home. So that's kind of cool. So the Time Warner Cable TV IP streaming and broadcast television on several different platforms since its launched 2 years ago. But so far it's been limited to use inside the home. This will change today. And this tipster who informed the folks over at Engadget of a new version of the iOS app coming up. It's going to allow out-of-the-home streaming. And there's going to be apparently this is the same person that tipped him on the Roku channel and so forth. So we'll see what this happens. But this is a good one. So if you have Time Warner Cable, if you're away from home, you're going to be able to stream some stuff. Someone saying, stream good in Austin, new viewer since NAV. Oh, thanks. Thanks for being here, Aaron. Appreciate it. Love Austin. If I wasn't going to live in Hawaii, Austin would be my number one choice. Number one, I love the tax situation in Texas. Number two, I love the Texans are able to have their guns and not go through a bunch of BS to be able to have them. Concealed carry is good there. There's a whole bunch of things that's good about Texas. If I was ever to live anywhere besides Hawaii, Texas is be on my number one on my list, specifically Austin. Austin's a great town. Really, really is. Okay, so remember that Google TV device that Asus brought out at CES? Well, apparently it's going to be available. The Cube is going to launch on April 23rd. Says a GTV source, costs about $129. It's going to be spelled Cube now instead of Q-U-B-E, C-U-B-E. And so this is good. So another Google TV offering by Asus. Next up, hey, the anonymous folks, sometimes they do stuff that really makes you go, But the anonymous hackers brought down the North Korean website for a second time. So I guess we have to give them a little, give them a good thing to go there. Give them a little taste of hacker medicine. But this is the second time that their website has been taken down. And it's interesting. They must have I wonder where they got their servers. There's no way the North Koreans would have their servers inside of North Korea, right? Okay, so imagine this. GeekNewsCentral.com, up and running, and then one day you come to the website and it's got like a parked domain picture on it. You'd be like, Todd, that idiot, didn't renew his domain name. Now that could happen to me, right? Because, sometimes I can be a little bit blonde and be a little bit airheady. That could happen to me. Now, God forbid it would, but imagine you're a $147 billion bank. Okay, just think about that for a second. You're a $147 billion bank, Regions.com. Is that a bank that sounds familiar to any of you? Well, apparently, some IT has some explaining to do because Regions.com is now pointed at a parked page. They forgot to renew their domain. Imagine you're doing online banking with them. You want to borrow some money through them. All the stuff that's done today on the web, and they forgot to renew their domain name. Are they a bunch of idiots or what? Some IT is no longer has a job. And in all honesty, he probably should be taken out in front of the company and whipped. Wow. Now, the question is, why didn't Regions renew their domain for like 25 years. They have a $147 billion bank, right? So you pay you can pay 10 years of domain renewal or 20 years. Why don't you just pay for 20 or 20? Why don't I pay for 100 years of domain renewal? Oh man! Now think about this. Think about you're able to get that domain registered. All right. Now it's not going to last long because they're going to take it away from them. But imagine the traffic that's coming into that domain. Imagine the interesting amount of, oh my goodness, would that be like a treasure trove, automated banking transactions, trying to clear checks, all that? I'm sure that's all done on back infrastructure, probably different IPs, different domains, and all that stuff. But if you think about it, you go, huh. Oh man. I would not want to be on the end of that butt chewing. It'd have to be big. All right. How many of you have downloaded Facebook Home? I didn't. And a lot of you didn't either. Of the 3,850 reviews, 1,817, roughly 47%, gave it a 1-star rating. Wow. They say, why are Facebook Home users so unhappy? They say the reasons run the gamut from invasive nature of the software, wow, or how much it drains a device's battery life. Facebook's trying to become everything, and they're just going to piss people off, and it could have a big backlash. It really, really could. All right, ladies, fellas, most of us have been in this situation. If you're of dating age, and you've had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you've gotten into a situation when you've broken up with a person, and then, it might be a short time or a long time, you start a new relationship. And obviously when you're in Facebook now, everyone shows their status and who they're connected up with and who, this whole thing, it's all online, right? So there's, you have your girlfriend or your boyfriend from before, all those nice photos and cutes and, kissy face and all that stuff. So how do you make this transition? At least one of the persons usually is very upset because, oftentimes when a relationship breakup happens, it's one person saying goodbye. It's usually the girl saying goodbye to the guy, but once in a while it's the guy saying goodbye to the girl. So what happens with those comments, statuses, all that stuff? Well, there's a new company out there called Kill Switch. And the company's actually named ClearHeart. It's created an app, and basically the app seamlessly and discreetly removes all traces of your ex from your Facebook profile, including pictures, videos, wall posts, status updates, and anything that has been tagged with your ex's name in it. Now, you won't have to deactivate your Facebook account, and it doesn't require detagging the app. Tell the app who your ex is, and it basically goes through and do the rest. Now, the purpose of Kill Switch is really to help those who have ended a relationship, help them to move on and basically clean up the profile, right? Because, fellas, let me give you some advice, okay? This is take this to the bank, and this is for the younger guys that are listening to the show. If you have pictures of ex-girlfriends, ex-wives, or either one, and girls, the same thing. If you broke up and it's not going to get back together, and you're sure it's not going to get back together, my advice is if you have printed pictures, love letters, love notes, anything that has a emotional thing around it, before you get into that next relationship, you either take that stuff to a safety deposit box and deposit it, or you shred it. And for sure, if you're into the point where you're going to get into a serious heavy relationship, you don't want stuff hid in a safety deposit box or any place like that. You want that stuff gone because all you need is your new girlfriend or your fiance or whoever it may be to be like home alone, in your home alone, and kind of doing a little snooping around, looking at pictures and to find pictures of you and your ex. Dudes, it does not work. It does not go over good. It does not go over good. Get rid of that stuff, okay? Um, guys, we're hoarders. We yeah, it's, okay, it's not a big deal to guys, right? We don't care. It's just that's in the past. Those are old pictures. But the ladies, that's a whole different emotional thing. It don't work, right? Get rid of anything. Okay, here's another thing. Okay, I'm giving love advice, right? On a tech show. Why? I don't know why, but we got into this kill switch thing. Um, sheets. Sheets to your bed, they gotta go. They gotta go. Gotta have new. Can't have the old. No, 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 no. That doesn't work. Because you know what's going to be asked is, how long have you had this, or how long have you had these innocent questions, and there can't be anything tied back to that previous relationship. Just take my word for it, okay? All right, so let me go ahead here and move on. But Kill Switch sounds like the perfect app for the dating fellow or gal who is moving on to a new phase in their life. And for the guys, we're all about the remote control, right? So the unified remote for Android is the way to go. And there's remote control apps all over the place. So if you've got multiple devices, you're going to want to get the unified remote control. And so anyway, I'll have this link up. Alan wrote a nice piece up on this and get a good review. Only 99 cents. So get out there and pick one up. Pick this app up. All right, let's keep moving the party along here. Let's look at where we're at on time. Yeah, a little bit behind tonight, but we're okay. How rich are you? Well, if you want to find out, there's a website that will rank you amongst, basically tell you where you fall out. So all you got to do is go to globalrichlist.com, and it gives you the ability to enter your median income, and it's going to tell you, quote unquote, where you rank amongst the richest people of the world, or where you are as part of the whole world. Now, what you're going to be shocked, and maybe many of you won't be, is depending on how much you make a year, you are a one percenter as related to the worldwide population. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes. You guys can check that out, see where you fall out or where you fall under, wherever it may be. All right, you can download the BitTorrent files from your browser with BitTorrent Surf Beta. So, if you guys are out there grabbing torrents online, basically downloading BitTorrent just got a lot easier. BitTorrent is finally pushing its torrenting browser plugin. It's called BitTorrent Surf to beta for you to try. That means you don't have to deal with the pesky desktop clients. So this will work with Chrome or Firefox, and effectively becoming the only BitTorrent client you need. Use with caution, folks out there. So link will be up in the show notes. You guys can check that out. I knew the Zoom H6 was coming out, and I had not seen any pictures of it yet. And the Zoom has been a workhorse for a lot of content creators. The H4, which I have over here, that got damaged a couple of years ago. But when I heard about the new Zoom H6, I heard it had modules. And this is fantastic. They got the ability to snap on a mic, snap on an XLR, snap in a mic side mic or a shotgun mic. This is way cool. And it's so cool that the geek here want. And I want all the accessories, of course. and those of you that are, basically DSLR videographers, you're going to want one of these, because this is going to help with your workflow, get you good quality audio recording to go along with the stuff that you're shooting on your DSLR. I use it, or at least when I'm traveling, I use a portable unit as a backup audio recorder in case we have something catastrophic happen, like a computer crash or something. Well, the folks at the Bitcoin stuff, we've talked about that a little bit here, but there's folks that are actually drilling for Bitcoins, and it's hot. Its value is going up, down, bouncing all around, and more converts are hopping in and buying a few coins and trying their hand at the market. But there's a number of folks that are actually you have to mine for Bitcoins, and that requires running some pretty high-end software, running some computer algorithms. And basically, some people are finding out that to make this happen, to make it work, you got to burn a lot of electricity. But one example was that folks have put together a GPU cluster, and you know that now that like NVIDIA and a variety of different card manufacturers build a GPU that doesn't even have a video output. It's nothing more than a super fantastic mini supercomputer in a computer, and you can run these things flat out, and they do a massive amount of number crunching. So they're finding that some of these giant rigs are consuming as much as $150,000 worth of electricity a day. I don't recommend you hook this type of a setup into your home because the lines will turn red and your house will burn down. So you have to have the right type of building to support that kind of, the voltage movement or amperage. But the folks are, basically earning about $400,000 a day in mining Bitcoins. But this is a pretty impressive operation. I'm going to give you a picture here of some of the racks that are running GPUs flat out. And believe me, this is not an amateur's game here. They're doing some pretty incredible stuff. And this is another article over on Gizmodo, but it just shows the rack of GPUs and how they have it set up and wired, and everything that's going on, and the heat being generated, and they're basically running an FPGA rig is what they're really doing here with this GPU stuff. But yeah, some pretty incredible software and hardware being used to mine for Bitcoin. So that's the latest gold rush. And I guess if you got the dollars to invest, it might be the thing to do right now. We're going to completely switch gears here, and we're going to talk science a little bit. I am very, very excited. We had a family member on my wife's side, her uncle, who needed a kidney. He was on the waiting list for, 5 years. He was in dialysis for 4. Really, he was pushing, the amount of time that you could be on dialysis. And there's a lab now, a team of researchers from Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston took kidneys from a rat, washed away the cells using chemicals to leave behind the basic collagen structure which supports the organ. They then grew the organ back using a combination of human stem cells and rat kidney cells. So what they basically did is they rebuilt this kidney. Now, after a lot of failed attempts to finally hit on the perfect set of conditions and cell types, and found that they were able to grow a new rat kidney. Now, this one outside of the rat only had 15%. So when a kidney function, as a kidney function goes down, they rate it percentage. And basically anything above about 15% of kidney function, generally you don't have to be on dialysis. But anything below 15%, usually you're on dialysis. So basically, in this first initial couple of trials, that they got 15% utilization outside of the rat and 5% in. And what this really means is that this is the rat's same organ. It's not going to require these anti-rejection medicines. So basically, they're thinking if the technology can scale to human-sized grafts, patients suffering from renal failure who are currently waiting for donor kidneys really could theoretically receive an organ grown on demand. And this is incredible. So they are going to try it next with pigs, and they're going to refine the process. But it could be within the next 10 years, we could have kidneys that basically they take one out, 30 days later, they put it back in, and you're back basically operational again and off the dialysis machine. This is, I'm sure, going to take time to be perfected and get the approval. But this, I tell you, folks, they're going to be doing some incredible stuff with organs. And I'm sure that my kids will, when they are older and when they need an organ, they're just going to order one. They're not, when there is a cancer, they're just going to replace the lungs. They're just saying, okay, you got cancer. Okay, we're going to take your lungs out. Oh, we might as well take your kidney and liver too. and we're just going to replace it. And then they're going to hit you with chemo and the stuff that this is exciting, exciting stuff. So we'll see what happens here. But this is really, and to me, is really incredible. All right, back to the tech side. Apple says small number of Apple TVs have Wi-Fi issues, and they've set up a replacement program. So they've determined a very small number of Apple TV third-generation products might experience one of these Wi-Fi connected issues, cannot locate the network, unable to join network, or dropped or intermittent connections. So they're going to replace any units that are up to 2 years. And that's pretty good considering it's a $99 purchase, right? All right, told you there was one more thing about YouTube. And we're coming down here last 4 or 5 articles tonight. But YouTube has added support for live streaming on iOS with the latest upgrade. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean live streaming with the latest iOS? Does that mean I can go live? So this is exciting stuff here too. So I'm going to get this app, get it downloaded. So I want to see exactly what they're doing here with this. But that, I guess what that means is that if you're able to do a Google Hangout and someone goes to your YouTube page on their iOS device, they're going to be able to watch the live stream from your Google Hangout. Or if you're lucky enough to be one of those folks that have a YouTube Live account, you'll be able to watch that as well. So this is very, very cool. I could see some opportunities here as well, as if you really want to spin things, you could. Hey, you guys know I'm, prior military, and I was really, really worked over on that drone medal. Well, the new U.S. Defense Secretary has downgraded the drone medal to be essentially a distinguishing device. So they're probably going to get an air medal with a little distinguishing device. Now I have an air medal, 5 or 6 awards with one with a Bronze Star and one with a V for Valor. And so what happens is it's put on the actual ribbon. There's a V, there's a Bronze Star, then a number. So what's going to happen is now they're going to put the actual little tab, the little thing that they're going to award, will go on an existing medal. So this is it's a big change. Now the question that hasn't been answered yet is which medal is it going to go to? Sometimes it can go across a variety of medals. So in other words, you could get the Bronze Star and get the distinguishing device on the Bronze Star. So they could give whatever level medal they wanted along with the distinguishing device. So it'd be interesting to see what the guidelines are. But much better, and it makes me feel much better for unless there's a card shuffle going on here, or we'll see. Well, time will tell on what level they issue the actual award at. Sitting in an air-conditioned trailer in Virginia someplace and going home and drinking beer and patting the kids on the head at the end of the day is not combat, okay? You may be flying a drone, but I'm sorry, you're not there getting shot at. Okay, so anyway, moving on. Yes, I'm passionate about that. A Japanese internet provider offers twice the speed of Google Fiber for less money. What is wrong with our country? A Japanese internet service provider is offering broadband plans at 2 gigs per second and 1 gig per second upload to residents in Tokyo in 6 surrounding districts. Costs $500 to install and $51 a month. $2 gigs down, 1 gig up, $51 a month. Hey, Time Warner Cable says we don't need gigabit. 4K is coming, 4K video. How are you going to watch 4K video on the net? You're not. Tokyo, you could. In Kansas City, you could. Sometime here in Austin, you might be able to if Google Fiber comes, but not on Time Warner Cable. Not on Cox. Not on Comcast. You don't need, hey, slaves, you don't need that higher speed internet. You don't need that, right? You don't need that. You can poke along at 5 megs down or 50 megs down. You don't need 2 gigs. Don't you love what they tell us what we need or don't need? All right, last 2 articles here. A, You like your beer frothy? The folks in Japan have developed a little USB plug-in. All you got to do is put your beer on top. Let me give you guys a little shout here. So all you have to do is stick it on there. It vibrates your beer, and voila, it brings the phone back. So that can be yours for $40. There's a nice video on it on ogizmo.com. And final article for tonight, folks, is Seiki, Seiki, has officially priced its 50-inch 4K TV at $1,500. Something about this sounds hokey still. I can't believe it. If it's really going to cost, I thought it'd be 10 years, but if they're going to introduce one for $1,500, the company says it's quite serious. It's going to ship in the U.S. For $1,500. It's worth picking one up to see what it does. But here's the problem: there's only like 1 or 2 4K players. I think Red makes one. We interviewed them. I think it's like $2,000. Oh, can you buy any Red videos? 4K video? Yeah, a handful. But how far away from that set are you going to have a 4K on a 50-inch TV? How far back in the living room are you going to have to have it a great experience? Well, if you want bragging rights having the first 4K set in the neighborhood, this is for $1,500 you can get one. But something tells me it's not going to be the epitome of quality. I might be wrong. Time will tell. All right, let me look at what I have here for emails. And a few have come in. Now, let me look and see when we did the last show, because we were off last week. Yeah, so I can do that one. So, got an email here from Paul. He says, "Hey, Todd, longtime UK listener of GNC here. Just to say, I love your show format far more than I do others. Yours, in fact, is the only tech podcast I still listen to nowadays. No others needed. Out of curiosity, does your show do well over here?" Yeah, absolutely, Paul. We have, I think roughly our international audience is like 13-14%, and the UK and Canada make up the large majority of it, probably splitting it. So probably 5 or 6%. Probably 5% each. But yeah, absolutely. We've got listeners from the UK and from Canada, but and of course all over Europe as well, in most European countries that speak English, along with some that don't. So last thing here is, excuse me, got an email from Lauren. She says, "Hey Todd, ever dream of having some extra help around the house?" He says, "You need to check out Romo." She says, "Romo is a mobile robotic platform that uses a smartphone as its brain. I think it's pretty cool. I think you should check it out. It's only $150. Let me know what you think." So I watched the TED video, and Lauren, it's kind of cool, but it's definitely not a Wall-E, okay? It's definitely not going to bring me a beer. It's not going to vacuum my floor. It's cute. And, we'll see. But anyone that want to check out Romo, Romo, you guys can check it out yourself. But Lauren, thanks for the email just the same. Hey, folks, as a reminder here, we'll be here on Thursday doing live Honolulu time, 8 p.m., which is 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific. If you want to join in, fine. If not, don't worry. You can check us out on the Roku, Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, Google TV, on the Tech Podcast channel. Of course, you can come over here to geeknewscentral.com, and we always encourage you to do that. Make sure you get subscribed to the show. Hey, thanks, GoDaddy, for being a sponsor here. We definitely appreciate them. And as I mentioned on the last show, we want to thank Dine again for being a sponsor of the previous 3 months and being on board. And then Citrix GoToMeeting will be back next week. But it's been fantastic. And those of you that are supporting this through insider donations, hey, thanks so much. It's weeks like this when we only have a single sponsor on the show that the insider donations help a lot, help us keep the lights on. So this is a great week to become an insider at geeknewscentral.com/insider. And but otherwise, we'll see you back here on Thursday. I'll have an announcement then on who we're going to have Saturday on the new media show. I'm really excited about the direction that show's going and the growth. We're seeing some explosive stuff with it already. Take up in some of the people we've had on board. But don't forget to share this show with your friends, neighbors, people that you know. And those of you that are just coming on for the very first time after seeing the show at NAB, we want to welcome you to the show. Don't forget about the Gadget Professor here at Geek News Central as well. Check out Don's show. But until next time, we'll see you. And everyone, thanks for being here. Take care and aloha.